we are live. Yeah.
What's going on?
What's up, Sean?
Oh, we're trying to do our very first live. We appreciate anybody that's out there might be watching. It's going to be rough.
It'll be a little rough
It's
here.
going to be rough at first.
And let us know if the anything with the sound or video quality is messed up. I'll try to do what I can.
Right. And then delete you from the chat.
And then delete you from the chat immediately. But yeah, with sports news today, apparently Kyrie Irving is mad about making $40 million a year for playing 20 games. Maybe he was the issue in Cleveland.
Maybe. Just a little.
Maybe all of it.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot there. I mean, what?
Then he gets what he wants by going to the Nets.
Well,
he has not been happy since day one.
Yeah, then he doesn't get the COVID shot, and somehow he doesn't fall off the end of the earth.
Right.
And
I get the whole not getting the COVID shot.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's to each their own.
Yeah.
But
making that kind of money though, I would take the shot.
Yeah. I mean, even if you grow another head.
Right, or all the other whatnots that has happened with that shot, but.
Sure, I get that.
I mean, they're paying a lot of fucking money.
To each their own. But isn't it funny though? I remember. So, I guess what was it? The mayor of New York at the time decided to go ahead and make an exception for NBA, like the NBA, like with it.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, that was a real thing. So, because basically they wanted to make sure Kyrie could go ahead and play in the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you remember what I'm talking about now?
Yeah, but they made the first round, but he didn't play, did he?
I don't know. Did he?
Because wasn't KD hurt like the whole year?
Yeah, I think you might have read about that.
Or he was either hurt, but I know Kyrie could only play in away
Let's
games.
just put it this way: he made sure he got it out. He was out in front of it,
Right.
to make sure that he was gonna get home games.
Right.
Kyrie. Yeah. And now, so Kyrie comes out today, and yeah, like you said, he doesn't really care. He has trade demands, right?
Yeah, trade demands, and he wants to go somewhere that's going to pay him long term.
Okay.
Why would you pay a guy long term that can't play with LeBron, can't play with KD, can't play with Boston, who is a good culture there?
Right.
I mean, they're always a top 3 seed in the East in the last 6-7 seasons.
So yeah, I mean, you have a tendency to, where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean,
there's a lot of smoke.
Yeah, there's a lot of fire.
Yeah.
But I thought, and the other thing is too, I thought him and KD were like tight.
Butt buddies.
Yeah.
They're the reason that trade happened, and before the season started, KD wanted out.
Yeah, because wasn't there footage of them like, in what was it, in the Golden State? When they were like in the tunnel or something, and they were all up in each other's shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't get it. So is there a falling out between KD and Kyrie now?
I don't. Well, the report is it's over contractual issues.
Okay.
And they've actually been playing pretty good ball.
Right. Yeah, I mean they've been up. They definitely are on the upside.
So that's what I don't get about Kyrie.
Which nothing really matters in the NBA until
until the playoffs.
Right.
But they have been playing really well.
At least till the All-Star game, right? Which is coming up.
Yeah. Then after that, you go for your seeding.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. Where's he gonna have a better place to land? Like KD's still in his prime.
Right.
I mean, get a 3-year deal there. But then if KD's gone, then go out to LA after LeBron retires and try to be a Laker. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I always thought maybe that he would try to get back with LeBron for like one last go.
They end up playing together out in LA. It is what it is. I mean, and I Kyrie was in a weird place when he left Cleveland. I think he's still just a weird guy.
Right.
But he's not that out there anymore, right, as much. Because that interview he did after leaving Cleveland,
yeah,
and that was just the most cringe thing I've ever watched in my life.
It was like danger, which cringe.
Yes. very much so. So I don't know. Like that dude could have went down as like one of the best point guards of all time, and
Right.
he's just ruining his legacy for that. I mean, there's the woke crowd out there that would probably beg to differ, but you know,
Sure.
that is what it is.
How about the NFL Pro Bowl, or lack of a Pro Bowl competition?
So,
I mean, we were watching some of that just a little bit ago. So apparently Derek Carr went and he won the accuracy competition.
yeah, and like I get the fact of like not wanting to do a Pro Bowl game anymore because these dudes are getting paid way too much money for that.
Right.
To go out there and blow an E out in February.
Right.
Like, but if you're gonna do Pro Bowl games, why not do it in Hawaii and do it like they used to do it? Like those quarterback competitions were fun as hell to watch.
Yeah, those were good. I mean, I don't have a problem with the competitions, really. I mean, the one with Derek Carr was just, we watched the footage of him doing that. Those dummies that he was hitting out there, you know, and I'm not talking some of the ex-players. They're like real target dummies.
Right.
They're definitely probably a little harder to hit than the gigantic bullseyes on the golf carts from back in the day. But those golf carts were smoking down.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were unreal.
Like, I don't know if you played Madden back in them days, but they used to have that on the game. That was just like, that was one of the funnest things to do on the game.
Yeah, well, last time I played Madden, he was actually a player. So, I mean, it was
1963.
Yeah, something like that. He was over there. Actually, I think he was coaching Bo Jackson.
Oh, we got a chat here from Fix. Car stud? Hell yeah. I don't know what the hell, like, Josh McDaniels in New England is like. I just think he's a coordinator. Like, he's just not a head coach.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a shot here. I mean, you kind of think that McDaniels wants to get his guy in there. That's generally
the only excuse that he had.
Right. Well, and he probably had to use that to kind of save his job this year.
Yeah.
Even though it was his first year.
What Derek Carr did last year and the year before that in Las Vegas, like, took that team to the playoffs after all that bullshit that happened with.
Well, they burned so much draft capital too.
Oh, well,
you know,
yeah.
when they had Mike Mayock and John Gruden were there.
They burned a lot of draft capital
On dumb shit.
And
Alex Leatherwood.
right.
Okay, that's all I have to say is Alex Leatherwood.
For them to have made the playoffs last year, and they were literally a pick in the red zone away from beating the Bengals in that wild card game.
Yeah, he threw a pick there. What, the 2-yard line?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, okay.
Right. Well, I mean, Derek Carr has always been up there, like around 68% completion percentage. Doesn't throw a lot of picks, and then this year they come out and he does a dud with Devontae Adams, and Darren Waller can't stay healthy, so I'll give him that. But like even Hunter Renfrow being there, like they have some studs, and Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing.
Yeah. Josh Jacobs definitely that it was like a breakout year for him for sure.
Yeah. And he got steady dose of the run.
Yeah, he did.
They lost a lot of close games. They had like 4 losses with leading by more than like 14 points.
I'd have to look that up, but I can't remember exactly what they had.
And with the draft capital and then blowing picks, I mean they need help on defense.
Yeah, defense is definitely a problem. Oh look, we got a caller.
That's from 1983.
You like
People
that?
still had landlines.
Well,
and
yeah.
Sean.
Yeah, I do. I still have a landline, by the way. It's actually portable. See that giant suitcase over there? I can call Crockett or Tubbs.
I've been here for 3 hours and no phone calls until we start
not
this.
one phone call. It's fantastic.
Probably Habib.
Yeah, I even put the phone out in the other room, but somehow the receiver is still super loud. So
Sorry, we got a little background music.
It's all right. I know. Well, I mean, let's go down. I mean, Dalton's on here. Car stud. I know you were a big push for. You're always kind of been a car stand. Now my deal was if they were going to replace Baker, of course, I was a Baker stan too, but that's because we've had such a drought for quarterbacks, and I get that our fan base is, it doesn't take much to please us, like when we start to see things go right. And I think I fell into that trap, and I'll admit that I was wrong. But in that off season, before we made the moves there was only 3 quarterbacks that I was consistent that were going to be free agents, and one of them was Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Deshaun Watson. So, or not free agents. I mean, we had to trade away acquirable quarterbacks. Yeah. So, I like the fact that we got Watson just for the fact that he was the youngest of the bunch. Mm-hmm. But I don't think, well, we can talk about that a little bit. I don't think Russell Wilson is as bad as what Russell Wilson was this last year. That's just my opinion.
We'll get to that, Dalton, after this thought.
It's going to be interesting to see what Sean Payton does there.
Yeah. Sean Payton had Drew Brees for 15 years, so
yeah.
But that offense, was always humming. So that's going to be interesting to see. He was another short quarterback, but he's a lot more mobile than Drew was.
Yeah.
And younger. Well, not to say younger because Drew Brees was like 20 something when he signed there in New Orleans, but that should be interesting. I mean, and he chose to go there instead of trying to get into. Wait to be a Chargers coach or, some young quarterback. He wanted to go to Denver. I mean, they're built to win. It's unreal the capital they gave up to get Russell and then get Sean Payton.
Right.
Like, you give up 4 first-round picks.
Right.
I think 2 or 3 seconds.
I mean, Elway's definitely all in.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's always he's all in. He's getting that Walmart.
But I'd rather if I'm a fan of a franchise, I'd rather them do that trying to win than the never-ending recyclable door of draft a quarterback sucks, can't get the pieces around him. Like if you have the pieces,
basically like the Browns.
Yeah, for the last
since '99.
Yeah,
right.
And they tried to build around Baker, and it just didn't work because he just wasn't the guy. But as it goes for the Browns' biggest signing of the offseason, I'm gonna say Daron Payne.
You think that's gonna be a thing?
Yeah, and I think it's not really a signing, but I do see Brandon Cooks in a Browns uniform next year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's going to be a little less capital to give up than, say, a D-Hop trade. I just don't think we have enough capital to give up to get him.
Right. But the NFL went ahead and is another $17 million going into this?
Yeah, they can make
They could do it if they really wanted to do it.
They still have $30 million in they have $30 million in cap with the rollover and everything right now. You're gonna I think they're gonna cut John Johnson.
Yeah, that's right. He's probably.
So that's another. It's like they have to wait until a certain date, and then they get it 12. They have 16.8 in cap right now. So I'm thinking of if they cut John Johnson, it's like another $13 million. But they can restructure Deshaun Watson, restructure Myles Garrett, who they might not be able to restructure Deshaun, but I don't see why he wouldn't. But Myles probably definitely wants to restructure, and that'll free up a lot of room. I've seen there's 4 different players that can restructure. They do that. They can open up $60 million in cap room.
Okay.
So you could literally go out and get Daron Payne. You could go get a good edge rusher, and you can use your draft assets to go get a D-Hop or Brandon Cooks or something like that, or not, and then use that second round draft pick as a speed receiver. But I would rather go get somebody that's tested, especially D-Hop because he's got the pedigree with Deshaun.
Right.
Because him and Amari, I think we're starting to work it out, and DPJ, they had an instant connection.
Yeah. Well, and the thing with Amari though, you also got to remember, Deshaun Watson started so late into the first part of the year where, look at the Bengals. I mean, look at the first 2 games the Bengals had. They lost to the Steelers.
Look at the first 8 weeks of the Bengals. They were 4-4.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in week 6. Everybody else was in week 17. I mean, that's I thought he was going to hit the ground running. Maybe not 2020 Deshaun, but I thought he'd be a little more crisp. But you could see it like every week he was getting better.
Yeah,
and it also didn't help that you were playing in shit weather, and then you're playing like some of the top defenses in the league every week.
Yeah.
Like there was no cupcake defense that they went up against in those last 6 weeks. Other than Houston, which that was his first game back.
Well, I think the only problem I had was the Steelers. The last game, I felt that was the first time that he rescinded a little bit. I mean, that he fell back. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Has he ever played that defense before?
No, I don't know. I don't know if he ever has.
I think they did once. I remember seeing, and I think they ended up losing that game. I think that's just going to be something where he's going to have to see that defense and have better chemistry with what they were doing. And I think they were just dropping back and chucking it because the run game was working. I just think Kevin wanted to have him go out there and just see live bullets. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, it was what game was that I felt like he wasn't letting Deshaun get more passes. Well, that was the Houston game. Yeah, it was the Houston game.
He was just off timing wise.
And he was
drops. Everything.
Yeah, I mean his first game back. So I
you could see too. They did a lot more RPOs in that game.
Yeah.
And they didn't really do that for the rest because. It takes a lot to introduce that kind of stuff in an offense for the offensive lineman, timing with receivers, timing with the backs, all that stuff.
Well, and I think, the guy we also watch too is Quincy Carrier, and he made a good point about this too. And I agree with this after hearing him talk about it I think you're going to see the Browns transition to more of a West Coast type offense where Nick Chubb isn't getting the ball as much. Now, you're going to have like the Homer Browns fans, and I get that, say, why isn't Nick Chubb, in the ball? He's going to get the ball, but he's going to get it on the backside of it.
Well, on the backside of it, Lincoln, what's up, brother?
What's up, Lincoln?
On the backside of it, and again, like, he's going to get more carries when you get more first downs.
Right.
You get more first downs, you get the lead. That's where he gets the carries. People were bitching when we were down by 14. Why is Nick not getting the ball? Well, because you have to throw the ball to get back in the game.
Right.
So, I mean, like, that's why in the beginning of the year, the offense was hot because we were getting a lead and he was, getting 20, 25 carries.
By the way, how's that twist?
Thanks, Lincoln.
By the way, it's good.
Everyone is better than the last.
I was trying to turn on it to these Trulies today, so I'm kind of hiding it, but
as you should.
I should, absolutely. But I think as far as that playbook, and I think Stefanski, something's going to have to give here.
Right.
I mean, his ass is on the line.
Yeah, I mean, if they start 1-4 or 0-3, the seat's gonna be fucking raging hot.
Yeah, it is.
Because the schedule, they're gonna get a break there with the teams that we're gonna be playing. I mean, some of the teams are gonna be better than you think. It doesn't really play in the schedule game this early.
That's always the case.
Yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be teams that come out of nowhere that's like, okay.
But if you're 2-2 and you're putting up 28 points a game, ain't nobody gonna be saying shit.
Well, if you're putting out 28 points a game, you're still losing. We're right back where we were, and Jim Schwartz didn't make a damn bit of difference.
Well, unless you play like San Diego, fuck it, Chargers. Like you're playing good offenses. But yeah, last year, if you're giving up 200 yards rushing a game again, I'll probably jerk the wheel into a bridge apartment at that point.
Yeah. Because Browns fans altogether, you just get tired of just wiping the slate clean and then seeing who else comes down the pike, and it's like we're just tired of that. At some point, it has to stop.
Right.
And something has to stick.
Right. They have, everybody wants a Super Bowl. I get it. Just get to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
What I would love to see is win a fucking division.
Right.
Have a home playoff game.
Right.
Whatever happens in the playoffs happens in the playoffs. But every year let's have a bite at the apple.
Right.
Because nothing will happen unless you get to the dance.
Well, usually there's a progression there. The shit that happened with Cincinnati last year. That's
an aberration.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
No.
I mean, it just doesn't happen. I mean, and granted, I like Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow's a great quarterback, and I do.
Well, they played a lot of close games, and that was just like in 2020. We went 11-5.
Right.
We were in a lot of close games, and we blew a lot of leads because our defense sucked. But but just like the Vikings, they were 13-4, and they had a negative point differential.
Right. Yeah, but they had like 11. They had 11 NFL record 11 wins this year by a touchdown or less, right?
Yeah.
They also had or maybe it was 3 points or less.
Yeah, it could have been something crazy like that. And they had that 33-point comeback win against
the Colts.
Which you're still a good team, but you're not Kansas City, you're not Buffalo, you're not Cincinnati this year.
Right, and I just think they got exposed. I mean, they got exposed that the Giants.
Yeah.
It's not like they're a juggernaut on offense.
No.
So,
their defense, Minnesota's defense is just horrible.
Yeah, it's just bad. I mean, if you're giving up 30 points to the Colts in the first half, but also they had turnovers in that game too. But still, if you're giving up that kind of, I don't know.
For whatever reason, though, when I was watching that game, when it went to halftime, I'm like, and in my balls, I could just feel that this game's, they're going to come back and win.
Yeah.
Fucking Jeff Saturday.
And why use a Saturday on Sunday?
And they're not even, are they even giving him a chance to coach next year?
I don't even know. I heard Irsay, in his infinite, coked out brain,
right? My hero
really likes Jeff Saturday. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, then also, what are the coaching candidates that are still out there that even Irsay would feel comfortable with?
My thing is that franchise is ran by that dude, right?
Right.
And all they do is win divisions. They've won a couple Super Bowl, or won a Super Bowl.
Right.
How does that happen? And we can't just be relevant every year. You know what I mean?
I mean, you hit on one. You hit on a Peyton Manning,
and then Andrew.
But then you tank, and you get Andrew Luck, and
he gets to be Andrew Luck's the guy that is a number one that year.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off about Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day they had Achilles Smith, who was trash. But then, then they get Carson Palmer.
Right.
And then they get, even Andy Dalton was okay for 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Serviceable, yeah.
Yeah. Won a couple divisions.
Yeah.
And then you suck for a year or two, and then you get freaking this guy.
Yeah.
Our dumbass.
Just falls in your lap.
We get freaking Brandon Weeden, Brady Quinn, which I would pick Brady Quinn. The list goes on and on. Charlie Fry,
Tim Couch.
Well, I think Tim Couch would have been all right.
I actually think Tim Couch may have been fine, but that was
the coaching carousel.
Well, that and the fact that was, the Browns are trying to go and buy a Mercedes, but not getting insurance for it.
Yeah, there was no offensive line.
Right.
He didn't get to see Braylon Edwards or Kellen Winslow they had Andre Davis and Kevin Johnson.
Yeah.
Make the coach glad.
Coach glad for the Colts.
What did y'all know?
There was a time that Mama told me not to get RawDawgers tattooed on my ass. No, that was the Waterboy. Yeah. It wasn't Coach Klein, was it? I don't know. I don't think I could do Henry Winkler.
Oh, yes.
Hey! That's about all I got.
My mom told me I should never get a tattoo of Roy Orbison. Well, Mama doesn't know. Won't hurt her.
Exactly. I don't know. It's sometime. Hell, even if you had my 6-year-old out there and he stopped the wheel, the revolutions of the wheel, you would think at some point stuff's going to stick with the Browns.
and that's
just throw shit
I
in
feel
the
like
wall.
Stefanski's the right guy. I'm not saying he's perfect, but like, what else are you gonna do? Bill's not coming back.
No.
She showed me the boobies. I like them too. But like, I don't know. But if they start out 0-4, you got to get them out of here.
You have to. I mean, and I know we all want to believe it's Stefanski, but there's definitely times I think we all kind of agreed this wasn't the right move. I mean, he wasn't doing things.
But the thing is like, even in New England, every year there's Patriots fans wanting Bill fired.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And the guy's won 6 Super Bowls.
I know. It's what have you done for me lately?
Yes.
It's that. Right?
As long as you're winning 9+ games a year, you're not going to get fired. Ask Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy punted on 4th and a half a yard against us.
Ask Brandon Staley.
Yeah. How he still has a job is fucking beyond.
Well, now we brought it up last time that Kellen Moore's going to be the offense coordinator over there.
He's just going to ruin Justin Herbert.
How long is it? I think I brought this up last time, though. How long is it before Kellen Moore just gets the job? What are the Chargers?
Just the head coach? Yeah, probably.
I mean, they just put him in there, right? And I don't even know what they're.
And then they trade 3 first-round picks for Sean Payton the next year. or they send 2 first-round picks to Michigan for John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh.
You think the Chargers are going to go ahead and replenish Denver's draft?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And just go after Sean Payton.
Yeah. How is that division just not going to be like? If they don't have 4 teams over 500 next year, something is drastically wrong.
Well, I think we said that this year too.
Yeah,
I mean, we thought it was going to happen this year.
Yeah, like I thought maybe there'd be one team that was 8-9.
Right.
From hell, I picked the fucking Raiders to win that.
Right.
Shows how much I know.
Yeah. Well, I picked the Broncos to make the playoffs.
Carr or Tannehill. Goddamn Cincinnati fans. No, I'm fucking with you, Dolan. I would take Carr in a heartbeat. Tannehill's early 30s, mid 30s, not very mobile. Carr's track record's a little bit better. Tannehill's had a lot better situation in Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
Than Carr ever.
Oh
had.
yeah, Carr
ever had with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Even when he was in Miami, that was just a shit show.
Yeah, Tannehill.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's like Kirk Cousins light. He's that.
I was almost going to say that. I mean, you can always count on Kirk Cousins to do Kirk Cousins shit, and Tannehill's going to do it too.
Yeah.
What was that playoff game last year? He started the game with an interception and ended it with an interception against the Bengals. Wasn't that against the Bengals last year?
Was that Kirk?
No. I'm talking about
Tannehill.
When the Bengals beat.
Oh, in the playoffs.
Titans,
Yeah. He's not a playoff quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's sad, dude. Because I wanted Mike Vrabel so bad when he was like getting interviewed there.
But wasn't he the coach? What was that 3 years ago that said he would cut his own dick off to make the Super Bowl?
So yeah, it was that or his left nut or something.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
get the knife out.
Kirk Cousins has a van down by the river. Yeah, well,
he's also thrice divorced.
Yes. He also had a plexiglass box because he wasn't vaccinated, and it's whatever.
Yeah.
Which whatever. I don't care if you are or aren't, but that's just a funny story.
I mean, you're making $50 million a year, and you want a plexiglass. Like, how are you going to play football?
It's like Bubble Kirk.
And dude, that dude, he's got to be a hero though, because Kirk Cousins is making like $50 million a year to be Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
In Minnesota.
So I mean, I looked this up too. So he had to basically their dead cap is going to be the same as what they pay him.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to keep Kirk Cousins probably, unless they were going to find a suitor, which, there was rumblings about that last year, about Minnesota being willing to move him. But I think the team that takes him is going to, if they're able to move him, they're gonna have to take some of that money away.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, who's gonna?
You're gonna have to at least
who's
eat
gonna
like
take
15
it?
of that.
Yeah, at least. Who's gonna take that
I
money?
don't think anybody he's like a bridge quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a little bit above a bridge quarterback.
Mhm.
He's a stat guy. I mean, you can win 10, 11 games with him, but when you get in the playoffs, unless you got like a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
Which QB will be the first off the board in April?
Oh boy. Of course, here's.
Let's look at the draft order.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, I mean, I've seen some of the mock drafts, which they don't really mean shit because everybody's just trying to get clicks at this point, so it doesn't matter. I mean, McShay and Kuiper.
And the Bears said that they're going to trade out of that pick, right?
Did they say that?
Yeah, they're going to go with Justin Fields moving forward. So you have Houston at 2, Arizona at 3. Let's see with this draft order who has the ability to move up and needs a quarterback.
Well, Seattle's drafting like 5, right? Are they at 5 or right in your
Well, yeah, Seattle is drafting at 5.
Right.
Denver's pick.
Yeah, remember?
Well, Indy's at 4.
Right. They're not saying that, Ryan?
No. Indy's at 4, but this is what I would love to see. What I don't think is going to happen, but what I would love to see is the Detroit Lions trading their 2 first-round picks to Chicago to draft C.J. Stroud. Because I think everybody loves Bryce Young, but he's 5'11", 6 foot.
I'm telling you, my opinion is C.J. Stroud, and this is
he's a better NFL style quarterback than Bryce Young.
And I know the history. I know the history of Ohio State quarterbacks, but I really think you have to.
You can call Joe Burrow an Ohio State quarterback.
Well, I'm not. Yeah.
He graduated there.
No. Okay. Okay.
That's what I would love to see, but because Chicago's trading out of there, so whoever is trading up to number 1 is trading up to number 1 to get a quarterback.
Yeah. Where's Chicago at again? Because I don't have a poll.
They're at 1.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They are 1. Because I thought Houston was going to be 1.
Houston.
Until Lovie Smith said, "Yeah, go fuck yourself," which was the ultimate fucking big cock move.
Oh, I love Lovie, dude. But I mean, Arizona's not going to trade up for that. Indy would want to, but I don't think they have as much. That's why I like Detroit trading up. But if Indy trades up, I could see Bryce coming off at 1 because that's just coked up.
Let me ask you this, just for shits here. What's Arizona doing at 3?
My guess would be they're getting rid of D-Hop, so is there really a receiver that you want to take that high in the draft right now?
No, I mean, they're riding Kyler Murray, right? They're absolutely right.
They have to. They just paid him.
I know they did, but is there any world where he could move off?
I don't think so, because I think if you trade him at that point in that early on in the contract, you're going to have so much dead cap, you're going to be fucked.
I know.
That's okay. So I think Detroit sliver of a chance, but they could go defense with that pick at 6, and they can get another offensive weapon at the other spot there. But Seattle has the capital to move up too.
Yes, they do. Yeah, because
I'd like to see.
They're at 5.
I'd like to see CJ in Seattle because I mean they're just a good run organization.
Yeah.
Vegas at 7, depending on what they can get for Carr.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Seattle trades for Carr. That's AFC going to NFC. That could be a landing spot for a quarterback in the draft. The guy from Kentucky is what I've heard that a lot of these scouts like, just because of his arm.
Will Levitt.
Will Levitt, yeah. So
I mean,
he may be the first overall pick. It'll probably, my gut feeling, it'll be Will, then Bryce, then CJ.
You think Will's going to go first?
Mm-hmm. That's the way it always goes.
So,
it's or traits, physical traits first.
Right.
Unless you're the Browns and you pick Baker Mayfield.
I heard this was on, I think it was on Brandon Walker's show, and he's great if you don't follow him on Barstool, but he's hilarious. But he was talking about this, he was arguing with somebody that was calling in, it was a huge, like, Kentucky homer, and with the SEC, and he was talking about how much more interceptions, though, that Will Levitt had versus any other quarterback in the SEC. So that has to concern you coming from from Kentucky. You're playing now. These are SEC defense. These defenses are like NFL type defenses.
And I will say this first, though. Thank you guys for checking out the Facebook stream. If you want to go over to YouTube so we can see the chat and I can type back, or we get the views on there, that'd be great. But if not, just keep chilling out there.
Sure.
But no, I think with the Will Levitt thing is he's big, strong, big arm, mobile, and that the stats ain't gonna matter. I mean, fucking Trey Lance got picked over Justin Fields, and Justin Fields played against some of the best defenses in college football. He had a pedigree and 2 years of playing in Division I football. Right. This guy's playing in, D1 AA or whatever you call it, FCS. That's how scouts are, and that's the way I feel it's going to go. I would rather see it go a different way.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, what are the Niners going to do with the Trey Lance situation?
If I was John Lynch, I would use Trey Lance to get whatever I could out of him right now.
But the other team, I agree with you, but I don't know if because of Trey Lance's lack of playing time, how many suitors there are out there for Trey Lance.
Somebody will take him.
I mean, somebody's going to take him, but what are you going to get for him?
I think you could probably get a second and a third.
Okay.
Because he's a young quarterback on a rookie deal.
Right.
Somebody out there probably liked him in the draft.
Right.
That would give up.
Maybe the Browns will get him like Josh Rosen, and we'll see him in preseason.
Wear number 19. Why is that number not fucking...
Bernie?
Yeah, why is that not retired?
Because he's an absolute fucking degenerate.
It's savage. If anybody didn't see that video, guys working for the Browns and fucking on Twitter live. Wasn't it Twitter live?
Yeah, I think it's Twitter. I don't know what social media app it was. I think it might have been Twitter.
Just $19,000 bet. Browns against the Steelers. Signs it. Like, hey man, you work for the NFL, you can't fucking bet.
Yeah, you can't do that. And who's the guy on his podcast with him? He was right there next to him. Who was that? Was it? Who does the podcast with Bernie?
Oh, it was Dixon.
Dixon, that's it. Amber Dixon, right? Yeah. So he's right there beside him, smiling, and he's
he had to know.
You just look it up. I mean, Dixon's over there. The fact that Bernie decided to have somebody, let's just put this on social media. I just want to tout the fact that I'm gambling, and then Bernie's publicist is over there like with a gun in his mouth.
Or doing some bumps.
I don't know where that guy was that night. That's for damn sure.
Just probably spending Bernie's money. But yeah, Justin Fields is Chicago's only weapon, and they better, if they're going to trade back, but you're going to be able to get probably 2 first-round picks this year out of that. Well, total two this year.
Right.
Or something like that. You'll get a lot back for that.
Way too early prediction for the Browns next year. Well, so we're Browns fans, and of course we're going to be optimistic about this.
I mean, we were a field goal kick away, dumbass 2 minutes against the Jets away, and an offensive pass interference call against the Ravens away from being 10-7.
Yeah.
So if you fix the defense and Deshaun Watson plays 80% of what he was in 2020, there's no reason you should not win 10 games.
Well, and I think with Schwartz too, we talked about this too. Something's gonna happen with that defensive line. Mm-hmm. Either you're gonna get a free agent that's gonna be in that. They're
gonna get splash, whether it's a defensive end or defensive tackle.
Right.
Hopefully, I want to see Daron Payne, DeForest Buckner. Even Fletcher Cox, I don't think the Eagles are going to be able to pay him. You can give him a 2 or 3 year deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
how
still a stud. I think
Yeah,
Fletcher
how old is
Cox.
Cox? How old is he now?
I think he's probably 30. But you know, they need some veterans on this team.
Yeah.
They're still like the youngest team in the league.
Well, but he's not like Ndamukong Suh, who's just out there.
He's in mid-30s.
He's making like one tackle a game.
Yeah.
Trying to keep his feet off of people,
So
smashing their fingers.
He's 32 right now.
He's 32.
I could still see 2 more years of good football out of him.
Well, the other thing is too, you'll have that veteran leadership.
And I like Barry on Whitford.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he was just raw and young and an idiot.
Right. Well, and who's the guy that ended up going to the Raiders too? During the season. Was it on the practice? Was that on the practice squad?
From the Browns?
From the Browns. Who's the guy that ended up going to the Raiders? He moved and he was all over TikTok too.
Rochelle?
Yeah, that's it.
Isaac Rochelle?
Yeah.
No, I think he was an end. But yeah, I think the Browns next year, way too early prediction, 11-6, wild card, Cincinnati probably wins the division again.
So we're definitely hedging on Cincinnati now.
Until I get to the point of actually making that prediction before the season, and my hatred of them and their fight song weighs me too.
By the way, guys, did you watch the last pod?
Yeah.
Did you? I mean, the intro. Kudos to Ryan here, but
It is Mike Picasso.
It is. I mean, if you haven't, just watch the first 5 minutes, if nothing else, and just share. I'm gonna get some clips out later on this weekend, but it's so good. It's so good. I mean, if you absolutely just hate Cincinnati, and maybe we should do a little back. I don't know if we really did any backstory on that.
Oh no, I don't.
Let's do that.
Okay.
So Brandon and Mark, the other guys that do the podcast with us, all 4 of us last year decided to go ahead and make a pilgrimage down to that cement.
Kentucky?
Yeah, down to Kentucky, and that underpaid facility of concrete in Chile that they call a stadium, and where it's one way in and then it's one way out, and people are tripping over each other to get to the nearest Gold Star Chili stand. We went down to that game, I think it was like November 11th, and we went in there. We had pretty good tickets, and we went ahead and went in, and all of a sudden that Bengals fight song started playing. At least I know it played in the first half, and then it played in the second half, and we just can't get over this because we didn't know that there was such a thing. We generally.
And the thing is like when I was a kid, Corey Dillon, Chad Johnson, those teams, I didn't mind watching them. I always rooted for them when they weren't playing us,
right.
Or if it was, of course, 2007, they were the assholes that kicked us out of the playoffs because Derek Anderson, choked in that game.
But they started playing this Bengals polkas, which what we kind of.
And there was like a little red ball playing with for the words too.
Yeah, that you could, and we're just, you got like 60,000 people. There was probably, I don't know, there's probably at least a third of those people may have been, now maybe a third, maybe a quarter of.
Oh, there's a lot of
Browns fans there maybe. But they just started playing that song, and we just started looking at each other like, what in the fuck is going on? What are we doing? I mean, people are singing it like it's a national anthem.
And that's where the basis of my hatred started.
The basis of my hatred, it wasn't just that, because at that.
Well, that and the chili.
The chili. No, I think it was the fact that just where we're at, and we just started seeing these. I mean, I remember at the store, people were, as the Bengals proceeded in the playoffs last year, just their Bengals paraphernalia, what they're wearing, and one guy, he had like moth holes chewed in the side of his hat, and it was like a painter's hat. I'm like, well, okay, you've had it up in your attic for how long? Where have you been all these years for the last whatever, however many years? And then just they come out of the woodwork. Northeast Ohio, what are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah, just,
it's just the fans. The fans.
It's like the same thing with Steelers fans because they don't like rooting for any team that has a slump because they're probably Buckeye fans, so they get the easy way out there too.
Yeah.
But somehow they're Cleveland Indians and Cleveland Cavaliers, but you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan or a.
Okay,
it just doesn't make sense.
Well, and to put it in perspective, I'm not rooting for the Reds either, even though they're not in our division. I have kind of a problem with that.
The one thing that would have been awesome though in the '90s if there was a Indians Reds.
Yeah, I would. No, I would have loved to seen that, but
Barry Larkin and.
Yeah,
that would have been fun.
that would have been, but
we can't ever have what we want.
no.
You can't always get what you want.
Yeah.
But no, and another thing too is like I've seen the Steelers win 2, I've seen the Ravens win 2. I'm not gonna sit here and root for the Bengals to win a fucking Super Bowl before I get to see the Browns at least make one. I've seen enough bullshit in my life, so.
Yeah, just the blatant homerism of where we're at. I mean, it's not like we're in.
I'm blatantly homer. Fuck it.
No, I'm talking about the Cincinnati.
Oh.
The Cincinnati. Oh, they're Ohio. Well, you gotta root for them. They're from Ohio. Fuck that. No, I don't. I'm not going to do it.
Right. They're not. They're from Kentucky.
You're right. Cincinnati. That's what we call them.
If your airport's in Kentucky,
you're from fucking Kentucky. I mean, all the good.
You could when we went down to the stadium, you could smell the river and the chili.
Oh, and you're like, oh great, yeah, they're making chili with river water. Oh look, it's a Garnose.
Chili does not go.
No, that's a cracker.
It's literally the worst chili I've ever had in my life. Is Skyline still even out there on Trimble?
I don't know.
Live stream?
I've never eaten.
I ate there one time when I was a kid. And I just remember thinking, like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. I mean, you don't make chili the way they do down there. You don't make it here in Northeast Ohio.
No.
You don't do it that way. And it's all brown. I don't know. They put some kind of.
The color is fucking weird.
I don't know.
Like shit.
I don't know if they parch it. I don't know if they burn everything and then just throw or extra beef broth or some bullshit in there.
It's all Ohio River water.
I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway.
But, anybody have any other questions? Anything else?
I don't know. Anything else you want to bring up? I don't know.
I think this was a good impromptu live show here.
And we appreciate it, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks
I'm just fucking with you Cincy fans. I mean, I do hate Cincinnati, but
yeah,
you guys are cool too.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys stopping in.
You gotta do something about that fucking fight song though, man. I can't.
I
can't do it.
I'd make a Twitter thing viral or something.
You need to get on that mayor down in Cincinnati and say, okay, yeah, we need to get something.
Well, at least he was a good sport about.
Who day?
Who dare? That is also one of the most annoying chants ever.
Yeah, it is.
So we used to do that in high school.
But
we did it like twice. Yeah, and I'm like,
why?
I don't know. I mean, just
was it like a punishment?
No, it was frickin' wood ring. And just, come on.
I don't know. I can't do it. Definitely not.
Fly Eagles fly.
Fly Eagles fly?
Yeah, I don't really give a shit who wins the Super Bowl, but I'll be happy for you, Nick, if the Eagles win another one. I mean, I don't see why they couldn't. They're literally loaded at every position.
Oh, they're favored too, right?
Yeah.
I think they're what? Are they? Is it -2.5 right now? Are they favored?
That would be just because of Mahomes' injury and their injury status in general. I think that'd be a good line.
My thing, I mean, my thing with Mahomes too was if he only had a week's rest and then he came back and he was able to perform like he did. Now he has 2 weeks, so
he's still gonna be getting out there. I think.
I would think so. The edge,
but at least it'll be in good weather.
I think the edge of it, I have to give to Kansas City as much as I hate to say that, just because they
Just experience.
just experience. Yeah. That's really what it comes down to.
That's the only thing I'll be looking for is to see how Jalen reacts to
Andy
kind of
Reid,
because they got bailed out like in the first quarter with, not that they were going to win the game, but it ended up not being a game immediately as soon as he got hurt.
The Eagles' defense, though, I mean, I could be totally wrong. I mean, we even talked about them possibly being one of the best defenses.
They have to be, dude. 70 sacks.
Yeah. I mean, they could definitely be one of the best defenses ever.
And it's hard for the last 5 years to even put a defense in that category. But for them, if they shut down Kansas City, you got to put them up there because, especially now, it's really hard to play defense in this league.
And I know that you've talked, you and I were texting back and forth during that game, but it's going to depend on this too. Is that Kansas City front getting to?
Yeah. Frank Clark and Chris Jones are going to have a day. They're going to have a day.
Yeah, they're going to have a day to keep them. They definitely keep them in.
And hopefully, why did Snead go out? Their corner. Was that a concussion or what was it?
I can't remember now. I don't know. I'd have to look.
I mean, they're going to need that. They're going to need.
Then you have a lot of the Kansas City wide receivers were hurt too, right?
That's what I'm saying. For the line to be that close is, I would bet that Philly all the way. Yeah. I mean, I do get I could see Kansas City winning.
Oh, I could see them. It's not going to be a shock at all if they go ahead and if they win it.
It would make all the sense though that Andy Reid beats the Eagles in the Super Bowl after all the years of being so close with Philly. Yeah. 4 straight NFC title games.
I know.
Those are some good teams too. They
were really good teams. And I just, you think about, what would have been or what could have been, if T.O. maybe didn't get hurt.
Right.
During that season, McNabb, and then, remember him bitching at McNabb on the sideline and all that bullshit?
Yeah, well, and if that whole T.O. and McNabb thing would have worked for more than 1 year.
Right.
But, I mean, he even came back after. Who dare? He came back to that game, what was it, 4 weeks earlier than expected?
Yeah.
And still had 9 catches for 100-some yards.
Didn't he make some kind of bet with Andy Reid that he was going to score 20 touchdowns that season or something?
I can't remember that.
I remember that.
Well, was that the year where he was doing crunches in his
in his driveway?
Or was he still the same brand?
There? Or maybe that was right after.
Or Dallas, maybe.
Before he went, or before he went to Buffalo, right?
No, because that was right at the end of his career.
Wasn't he wearing that army hat?
Yeah.
Backwards, he's out there doing crunches.
And they're trying to ask him questions, and he's his shirt off doing crunches.
Yeah.
And he's 50, still runs like a fucking 4.40.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
I would love to see him suited up and go out there and play.
I mean, it's great that he thought he could still do it, but we saw in Buffalo he's not doing that anymore.
He still had 900 yards that year.
Yeah, but okay, but how far back was that?
But who was his quarterback too?
Okay, all right.
Who was it? Kyle Orton? Was that the guy?
I think it might have been.
Yeah.
God, Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Kyle Orton. That guy made some money in the league.
Yeah, he did.
For no reason.
Yeah, he did. Well, gonna be it.
I think it is.
I'm not doing that who day. I'm not doing it.
No.
I'm not doing it.
Who dare?
I'm not doing it.
No, thanks guys for
I do appreciate you commenting on the chat though, by the way. But I just can't do it.
He's got a little sad face with it too, so.
Oh, okay.
Is that a sad face? I don't know what face
I don't even know what that is.
But, yeah, thanks guys for stopping by.
It looks like a face that might have just ate a bowl of parched chicken. Is there an emoji for that? That could be it.
All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by, and RawDawgers out.